Good morning, everyone. We're inviting you to take your seats. We're going to get started in just a moment. Does everyone have a siddur? Did everyone get a prayer book? Terrific. Welcome. Beginning on page 70, Hinei Ma Tov. Welcome, everyone. I'm Rabbi Tara Feldman, Rabbi Meir Feldman, Cantor Adam Davis, Shai Kedney, keeping us afloat with his beautiful music. We're so glad you're here. It's a complicated time, and really appreciate everyone keeping their masks on. From the bima, we've just tested. We're going to let you see our face.
We're vaccinated and tested negative within the last negative test
10 minutes ago.
Okay, so we're giving you the ability to hear our unmuffled voice. Please, you may have been here many times. This may be for the last simcha, bat mitzvah, but just encouraging you to join in any way. All the prayers are transliterated. They're written out in English characters. We need your voice. We need your prayer. We know we have a lot of love. I can see it. Sorry, I'm not taller. And as we begin the service, I was just coming down from my office, and there's a little basket that I always keep on my desk, and it has some beautiful kippot in it that were knit very lovingly by a grandmother who is perhaps not here physically, but she is so here this morning. And so I have 4 of them. You don't have to wear them, but I'm going to bring them down so you can just have them with you. They're beautiful colors and soft, and they really represent, when we wear a kippah, we're remembering that there is a force beyond us and above us, and we are standing in humility before that force, and we are also saying that we are Jewish, and we are outing ourselves. And part of the journey of this family has been to say we are going to be in a land where we can proudly be Jewish and build a new life for our family. So Mayor will bring them down with some Kleenex. Beginning with Ma Tovu 76.
Oh
תפילתי לך, אדוני את רצון, אלוהים ברוב חסדך, אלוהים ברוב חסדך, ענני באמת גישך. מה טוב, מה טוב, עליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. מה טוב, מה טוב, עליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל, משכנותיך ישראל.
So we'll turn to page 78, and we begin a journey of fulfilling our obligation to say wow 100 times each day. That's what the rabbis say. They tell us it's an obligation, a spiritual requirement to say wow 100 times a day. I don't know, if you were to think to yourselves, how many times a day do I say wow? It'd kind of be an interesting exercise. What do you think? It's a rhetorical question for the moment, but it's a worthwhile question to take home. How many times a day do I say wow? And if it's 0, this is a great invitation. A morning ritual is a great invitation. If it's 10, good. If it's 75, awesome. Your guess that the wisdom, the spiritual insight of the rabbis, the sages 2,000 years ago, if we're getting to 50, 60, 70, 80 times a day, odds are pretty good that your days are happier. There's more wow in your life than if you're at 0 to 5 or something like that. So we begin with this notion that Elohai neshama shenatata bi hi tehora. No matter what I did yesterday, there's this Yiddish word shtunk. No matter what a shtunk I was, like what a silly choice I made yesterday, it doesn't matter in terms of my soul. My soul is pure. Your soul, our souls are pure. Every morning we wake up, and the invitation, the opportunity, the responsibilities, today I get to reveal to the world how pure my soul can really be. So this is the prayer we'll offer on 78, and then we'll launch into a series of other blessings beginning on page 80. 78.
Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Neshama, Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi, Tehorai, Tehorai, Elohai, 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 Neshama, Shenatata bi, Neshama, Neshama, Tehorai, Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi,
I offer thanks to you,
Tehorai, Tehorai.
Adonai, my God.
Source of all creation, sovereign of all souls, praise to you, Adonai, in whose hand is every living soul and the breath of humankind.
Baruch atah Adonai, asher beyado nefesh kol chai, veruach kol basari.
Turning to page 80, for the Nisim B'chol Yom, the miracles of every day. There are two ways of viewing the world. One is that everything is a miracle, and one is that, it's all ho-hum. Nothing is. So it is a miracle to have a bar mitzvah joining us for this moment, the Shechianu moment. And we are going to go through offering these blessings which begin on page 80. And you can join us with the opening, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, or the closing English, or the Amen, but thinking about the amazing blessings of consciousness, of having a working body, and so much more. Page 80. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, the English, who opens the eyes of the blind.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who frees the captive.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokef kefufim, who lifts up the fallen.
Amen. 82. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who stretches the earth over the waters.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who strengthens our staff.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim, who clothes the naked.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who gives strength to the weary.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Hama'avir she'ena me'enai, u'tenuma ve'afapai, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids. We're at the top of page 84.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who made me in the image of God.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who made me free.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael, who has made me a Jew.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who girds Israel with strength.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who crowns Israel with splendor.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'etzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen.
Page 88. Elu devarim she'en lehem shi'ur, she'adam ochel perotehem ba'olam hazeh v'ha'keren kayemet lo le'olam haba. Join with me in the English, 88. These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit in this world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all.
We'll continue on page 94 with Baruch She'amar. Baruch She'amar v'chaya ha'olam, Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu severeshit, Baruch Hu mer v'yoseh, Baruch Hu zerum kayem, Baruch merachem al haaretz, Baruch merachem al habriot, Baruch meshalem sachar tov l'reiav, Baruch ha'la'ad v'kayam la'netzach, Baruch podeu matzil, Baruch Shemo, bishvachot uvizimrot nigadlecha, unshabechecha, unfarecha v'nazkir, shimcha v'namlicha, malkeinu Adonai Eloheinu, yachid cheolamim, melech meshubach, umfar ariyad, Shemo hagadol, Baruch ata Adonai, melech mechulal betishbachot.
Page 100, Psalm 150. Page 100.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I need your help with this one. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללויה, הללויה. All right, we'll try this now. David, you can help me out? All right. הללו אל בקודשו, הללויה, הללויה, הללו ברכיה עוזו, הללויה, הללויה, הללו בגבורותיו, הללויה, הללויה, הללו קרוב גורלו, הללויה, הללויה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללויה, הללויה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללויה, הללויה, הללו בתק השופר, הללויה, הללויה, הללו בנבל וכינור, הללויה, הללויה, הללו בטוב ומחול, הללויה, הללויה, הללו במינים ועוגב, הללויה, הללויה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללויה, הללויה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללויה, הללויה, הללו בצלצלי שמה, הללויה, הללויה, הללו בצלצלי תרועה, הללויה, הללויה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, 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 הללויה, הללויה.
We rise now as we are able for the Baruch Hu. We are on page 108.
Lai 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 Baruch Hu et Adonai hamevorach Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed.
Page 110.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvorei choshech osi shalom uvorei et hakol Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvorei choshech osi shalom uvorei et hakol.
In the beginning, even then, a new light was sown for the righteous, a promise that your light would become the catalyst, first for order, then for hope. Author of language and light, help us to use words you have to cast light into dark waters and draw justice and truth.
Or chadash al Zion ta'ir, v'nizhechu lanu mehera leoro, Baruch atah Adonai
We're on 112.
Ahava Rabba Ahavtanu Adonai Eloheinu Chemla Gedola Viteira Hamalta Aleinu Ba'avur Avoteinu Ve'imotenu Shebatchu Becha V'atlamdem Chukei Chaim Tenot Chonenu Utlamdenu Utelamdenu Hamrachem Rachem Aleinu V'tein Belibeinu Lehavinu L'haskil Lishmoa Lilmod Ulamed Lishmor V'lasot Ulkayim Et Kol Divrei Talmud Toratecha V'yahava.
Love your neighbor as yourself, you said. And right-minded we saw that inner and outer worlds are one, as you are one. You spoke and we wrote. We reached for you down the centuries, your light moving before us as we climbed, fell back, and climbed again, your Sinai of life.
We're in the middle of page 112. Ve'harenu b'toratecha v'dahapek libeinu b'mitzvotecha ve'yachel levadeinu li'ahava u'yira et shemecha v'lo nevosh v'lo nikalem v'lo nikasher le'olam ba'ed ki b'shem kodshecha הגדול והנורא פתחנו, נגילה ונשמחה, נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך. והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו פונמיות לארצנו, כי אל פועל ישועות אתה, ובנו בחרת וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול סלע באמת להודות לך ויחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. We continue with the Shema on page 114. Nala Shevet, you may be seated.
116.
את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננת לבניך ודיברת בהם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
למען תזכרו, עשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
אדוני אלוהיכם
אמת. מי כמוך, page 122.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה
Please rise.
ישראל, ובתי חינומך, יהודה וישראל. בואו עלינו, אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל, ברוך אתה, אדוני, גאל ישראל.
124, the Amidah.
124.
אדוני שפתי תפתח ופיי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch Ata Adonai, Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו ואהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. page 128. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עבר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדומה לך, מלך מבין ומחיה וחיי הכל. 130. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ויאמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, מה אדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור. Hallelujah. We're at the bottom of page 130. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיגור לך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיגור לך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך, קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו, מהבינו לא ימוש, לעולם, לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We continue for a few moments of private reflection and prayer on the pages that follow. We'll meet up again on page 142. When you've completed your prayers, you may be seated.
Feel free to continue your private meditations at your own pace. If you've completed, please join me on page 140 for the morning prayer for peace. Sim Shalom. Sim Shalom, Tova uvracha, Ein v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol Yisrael amecha barcheinu yotzreinu kulanu ke'echad ve'yor panecha ki or panecha natata lanu Adonai Eloheinu sim shalom tova uvracha ein v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amecha Torah chaim be'ahavat chesed u'tzedaka u'bracha v'rachamim v'chaim v'shalom sim shalom tova u'bracha chaim v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael שלומך שים שלום טובה וברכה אין בחסד ורחמים ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל ישראל עמך ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום.
And Oseh Shalom on the bottom of 142.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. אמרו אמן, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. ואמרו אמן.
So in a moment, we're going to begin the Torah service, David's big moment. But before we do, David, I want to share a little piece of Torah. You can sit for a moment. The opening verse of our Parsha Nitzavim, it opens with these words, Atem Nitzavim. Atem is you, and Nitzavim is you are standing. You're strongly, securely rooted, standing. And, you know, one of the goals of our sages and all of our teachers throughout the generations, the centuries and millennia, is to be as absolutely clear as possible that the Torah text is speaking, yes, way back then, but not only. It's actually speaking to us at every single moment of history, human history, Jewish history, humanity. So there is this question, you are standing, Moses is saying to the Jewish people, several hundred years ago, and the sages, particularly in the Hasidic world, are like, wait a second, this was 200-300 years ago. How does this relate to us? 1700, 1800, Eastern Europe, and all over the Jewish world. Atem Nitzavim. What was Moses thinking? And so they have these two beautiful ideas about the very first word, the word atem, which, as I said, normally in modern Hebrew and biblical Hebrew means you, plural. At or atah is you singular, atem is you plural. So the first insight that the Rabbi Aharon Mikarlin from the community of Karlin, he says that he points out, he notices that the Hebrew word atem, 3 letters, aleph, taf, mem, actually if you play with the order of those letters, which is a very Jewish thing to do, you can change the order of those letters, and it goes from atem to emet. Who knows what emet means? Truth, right? You just flip the order of the mem and the taf. A-M-T, you have the word, or E-M-T, you have the word truth. And so what he says is, the word atem, the letters atem, are actually form the letter emet. Ha-emet boka'at. The truth in life, it tears, it pierces, boka'at. La derech ad l'kisei hakavod. The truth in life pierces through all of the schmutz, all of the dirt, all of the distraction, all of the confusion, and it takes us right to the throne of God. We know this in our own lives. When we're able to say something profoundly true, which actually, if there's anything we really know deeply that's true, it's about ourselves. We can pontificate or speculate about anything and everything in the world, but the greatest, deepest truths that we can articulate, utter, are about ourselves. When we are able to do that or come close to that, we actually have taken us to the steps of the Kisei HaKavod, to God's very throne. And I think these moments in our lives when we personally have shared a truth with a loved one, someone we care about, or a loved one has shared a truth with us, we feel like, wow, we don't get higher in life. Second, so you get how, I see what Moses meant when he said, emet atem mitzavim. What Moses was talking about is, for all of Jewish history and human history, we are going to realize when we speak emet, when emet is standing, mitzavim, oh my gosh, we experientially know the truth, the profound reality of what the Torah is saying. Truth takes us to God's feet, God's kisei, throne. Second and final idea is that the Meir Einei Chochamim, one of the a different Hasidic master, he's also interested in this word atem, but he actually says that atem does not actually mean or point to emet. He actually is thinking that atem is an acronym, a Rashi Tevot. Imagine atem is like an ATM, and what that stands for, Evan, a stone, Mikir, an Evan, a stone that's in front of a wall, Lizok, will cry out. So what's this guy? What insight? What beautiful spiritual truth is the Meir Einei Chochamim pointing to? He says that the day Hayamim Hanoraim, the days of awe, we're approaching, beginning on Monday night. We begin our 10 days of awe. The days of awe, Mesugalim L'Tshuva, are capable, are like precious for the work of repentance, of tshuva. Even, he says, and this is the fun, playful, interpretive moment, afilu halivavot shehit avanu, even for hearts, livavot, that are like the Evan, a stone. Even hearts that are like a stone have the capacity to tzoakim, to cry out to God. And so now, this wonderful Hasidic teacher is reminding us that even when we've been closed, even if we've been emotionally kind of shut down or hard like a stone, when we've been not able to open ourselves to worries, concerns, frustrations, imperfections in ourselves or others, we've been stone-like, all it takes is to be able to hear that litzok, that tzoakim, the cries, the pleas for awareness and attention. And so the Meir Einei Chochamim says to us, it's not just that atem is pointing to the power of truth. It even can be the acronym in which our hearts, which have been pretty hard and rocky and maybe stone-like at moments, our hearts can be opened, can be made soft through our ability to cry out with our own truths, with our own needs, and to listen to the crying out of our loved ones. So, with that, we're going to hear some beautiful Torah about the opening part of our passage, of our Torah portion from David. But David will be speaking about a different portion. And for now, we want to ask
the whole family to come up as we turn to page 244, and all of us rise as we begin Seder Kriyat HaTorah, our Torah Service, 244.
Ein kemocha v'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kema'asecha, malachutecha malachut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yevarech et amo b'shalom. Avarach
246.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Gadol Adonai iti, uneromema Shemo yachdav. Lecha Adonai hagedol, ve'hagevura, ve'atiferet, ve'hanetzach, ve'hahor. Ki chol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, ki chol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz. Lecha Adonai hamamlacha, v'yanik na'aseh lecha lerosh. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, ha'olam omed. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, ha'olam omed. Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. The Torah is at rest. You may be seated.
All right, so for the honor of the first Aliyah, we're reading from the book of Deuteronomy, Nitzavim, as Mayor just taught, chapter 29 in Devarim. And for the first Aliyah, it is my joy to call up, you just came down, but you can come back up again, Andrew and Olga. Come on up. Ya'amdu Amiram ben Shlomo HaKohen v'Naomi bat Liora v'Yosef la'aliyah rishona.
Baruch Adonai havorach.
Baruch Adonai havorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai havorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol alamim v'natan lanu et toroto. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen. Atem nitzavim hayom kulhem lifnei Adonai Elohehem rashehem shiftehem זקניהם ושוטריהם, כל איש ישראל. טפהם, נשיהם וגרך, אשר בקרב מחנך, מהוטב עצך עד שואף מימך. לעוברך בעברית, אדוני אלוהיך ובעלתו, אשר אדוני אלוהיך קורא עם היום.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Ya'amod for the second aliyah, Stephen and Edie. Yamdu, Shmuel, Hillel, Ben Avram, Barak, the Sarah Fegel, the Bat Shlomo, the Naomi, Lichot Torah. Stephen, Edie.
Baruchu et Adonai Hamvarach.
Adonai habarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bacha banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
למען הקים אותך היום לא לעם, והוא יהיה לך לאלוהים כאשר דיבר לך, והאשר נשבע לאבותיך, לאברהם, ליצחק וליעקב. ולא איתם לבדהם, אנוכי קורא את הברית הזאת ואת העלה הזאת, כי את אשר ישנו פה עמנו עומד היום לפני אדוני אלוהינו, ואת אשר איננו פה עמנו היום.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
And for the third aliyah, calling of Dana. Ta'amod hanabat amiram v'liora shlishit.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Ki atem yedatem et asher yashavnu ve'eretz Mitzrayim ואת אשר עברנו בקרב הגויים אשר עברתם. ותראו את שיקוציכם ואת גילוליהם ואבן כסף וזהבה אשר עמהם. פן יש בהם איש או אישה או משפחה או שבט אשר לבבו פונה היום מעם אדוני אלוהינו ללכת לעבוד את אלוהי הגויים ההם. פן יש בהם שורש פורה ראש ולנהר.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'hayei olam nata b'tuhenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Okay, come up as a family. So you'll all stand next to David as he becomes a bar mitzvah, called to the Torah as such. Ya'amod, 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 habachur, habar mitzvah, David ben Amiram v'Naomi HaKohen, Chazal.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'elam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah. והיה בשמעו את דברי העלה הזאת והתברך בלבבו לאמור שלום יהיה לי כי בשרירות ליבי אלך למען שפות הרבה את הצמאה. לא יובא אדוני סלוח לו כי אז ישן אף אדוני וקנאתו באיש ההוא ורב צבו כל העלה הכתובה בספר הזה ומה אדוני שמו מתחת השמיים והבדילו אדוני לרעה מכל שבטי ישראל וככל עלות הברית העלה הכתיבה Vesefer HaTorah Hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam nata b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
You can be seated for just a minute together as a family. So now we take a moment for our prayer for healing. Can be found on page 253. Taking the strength and joy of this moment of accomplishment and channeling it towards anyone in need of healing of any kind. 253. Please bring those blessed names into your minds and hearts.
Mi sheberach avoteinu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Now, turning to page 258, I call up Aunt and Uncle Oleg and Marina to offer a prayer for our congregation. 258.
Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us. Love of Torah, devotion in prayer, and support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy.
Amen. Thank you so much. And offering a prayer for our nation, also on 258, calling up aunts Polina, Jane, and Vika.
O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give us thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in the defense of our ideals.
Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they have governed with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit. Amen.
Did we hear your voice?
Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and untie the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke, share our bread with the hungry, and take the wretched poor into our home. When you see the naked, give clothing, and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in the darkness.
Amen.
Amen,
Thank you.
amen.
Thank you so much. And a prayer for the state of Israel on 259, offering it first in English, Aunt and Uncle Sam and Irina.
O Heavenly One, protect and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread love over the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and a fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen.
Amen. And those same words in Hebrew, we're on 259.
Avinu, Avinu, שבשמיים, זו ישראל וגואלו. אבינו, אבינו, שבשמיים, זו ישראל וגואלו. ברך, ברך את מדינת ישראל, ראשית צמיחת גאולתנו, מגן עליה בברת חסדך, ופרוס עליה סוכות שלומך.
אבינו, אבינו, שבשמיים, זו ישראל וגואלו.
אבינו, אבינו, שבשמיים, זו ישראל וגואלו.
ושלח אורך וביתך, ורציה זריה, ויועציה, ויועציה, ותקנם ביצה טובה, ותקננו ביצה טובה מלבניך.
אבינו, אבינו, שבשמיים, זו ישראל וגואלו. אבינו, אבינו, שבשמיים,
זו ישראל וגואלו.
ושמחת עולם ליושביה, ושמחת עולם ליושביה, ונאמר אמן. אבינו, אבינו, שבשמיים, זו ישראל וגואלו. אבינו, אבינו, שבשמיים, זו ישראל וגואלו. ונאמר אמן.
Turning back to page 252, we now perform the ritual of Hagbah, the raising of Torah, and the dressing of Torah, calling up David's Uncle Sam, and his great aunts, Ludmila and Nina, who will be dressing the Torah. Sam will be raising the Torah. When the Torah rises, we will as well. Please rise in preparation.
Have you done this before, Sam? Have you done this?
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה. תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה. תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה. תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה.
Great. Which version?
You may be seated.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Our Torah portion is Nitzavim. I want to share with you the opening and closing statements of our portion. It opens with this. You stand today, all of you, before the Lord your God, your tribal heads, your elders, and your officials, all of the men of Israel, your children, your wives, even the stranger within your camp, from the wood chopper to the water drawer. Yes, this is from Parsha Nitzavim, which we Jews read everywhere on this Shabbat. And yes, we also read this opening passage every year on Yom Kippur. We read this passage not only as part of our weekly Shabbat readings, but also on our holiest day of the year, Yom Kippur, which is in just 12 days. This passage describes your experience on Yom Kippur, and which we read on Yom Kippur, we also read today. On Yom Kippur, more Jews go to synagogue than any other day of the year. All of us, from the Hesed community to today's version of wood chopper or water carriers. In trying to understand the meaning of this opening passage, Rabbi Meir and I thought about the 5 basic questions: who, when, where, what, and why. I want to address each of these questions. First is who, which is pretty extraordinary in my mind. Everyone is called to enter the covenant, even women, children, and average working people. Second is when, and we all know, it's every year, year after year, on this Shabbat and on the day of Yom Kippur, which is the 10th day of the 7th month, which is Tishrei. Third is where, and we all know that every year on Yom Kippur, Jews gather in synagogues in every corner of the world. No matter where Jews live, we always gather in synagogues, from Siberia to South Africa and from Memphis to Moscow. And lastly, there's why. And not surprisingly, this is what I want to focus on. We gather on Yom Kippur, and now I quote, enter the covenant with God. If you're like me, you may not be so clear on what that means. And when I first read my portion, I had no idea what a covenant was. I came to understand that a covenant is an agreement. In this case, an agreement with God. It tries to set forth what God expects you to do and what God will do for you in return. I'm sure there's a lot I don't know, but it seems for sure that an agreement with God just before the high holidays would begin with being a good person. And I've learned over the years that high holidays are about asking for and granting forgiveness to people in our lives. The word for forgiveness in Hebrew is Teshuva. This word and its root, shuv, shows up over and over again in our portion. I think that Teshuva, forgiveness, is really important because it helps people let go of their anger and gives peace to both people involved. I also think that you shouldn't wait long to forgive. To me, that just prolongs anger and unneeded separation. However, when taking another look at my portion, I realized something was missing. Verse 19 says, "The Lord will never forgive him. Rather, the Lord's anger and passion rage against that man, till every sanction recorded in this book comes down upon him, and the Lord blots his name out from under heaven." When I read this, I thought I would need to rewrite what I had just wrote about forgiveness. But after discussing this topic with Rabbi Meir, I came to understand two important aspects of forgiveness. Yes, we should forgive, because forgiveness is really important. But also, receiving forgiveness does not mean that the person will not receive some punishment, or that there's no consequences to our actions, even if we are forgiven. And now I want to share with you the closing passage of our portion. "I call heaven and earth to witness against you today. I have put before you life and death, blessing and curse. Choose life." Choose life is kind of a strange thing to be told, and it took me a while to figure out exactly what it means to choose life. I still don't fully understand. I don't think anyone does. But now I understand that this could apply to all of our lives. And in my mind, I think this passage could be more symbolic of our choices, values, and way of life. Even simple choices like when I should do my homework, when I should brush my teeth, picking up things off the floor, leaving for school too late, how much effort I should put into a project, then I think you get the idea. And I also think that choosing life could mean something deeper than that, like having drive and incentive in your life, and that life is always worth living. To me, I found a number of wonderful ways to choose a life. For example, cooking, baking, baseball, music, and so many other things. And lastly, I think that making people happy is a way to choose life as well. You can benefit from helping others yourself because you get a sense of fulfillment. There's a boy in my cooking classes who has special needs, and my cooking classes are his only real activity with others his age, and that makes him feel good. And I think that this is a perfect example of helping someone else choose life. Before writing my speech, I thought choosing life meant asking a person with a gun to your head not to shoot. I never realized this before, but choosing life could mean so many different things. And it now makes a lot more sense to me why we read this passage just before the high holidays and on Yom Kippur itself. Choosing life, choosing to live a better life for the year ahead is the goal of our time in synagogue and on our holiest days of the year. Every bar mitzvah student is asked to take on a mitzvah project. I think this makes a lot of sense. Now that I'm becoming a Jewish adult, it's a good time for me to do more for others. My plan is to be really involved in the Temple Without Grateful program, which helps feed people who are food insecure. It's a terrible thing that even in a community like Great Neck, there are so many that struggle to put enough food on their tables. I also plan to contribute to raise money for those in need through my cooking classes and YouTube channel, which I had started a little over a year ago. Rabbi Meir asked me, and every other student, to speak to our parents about their bar or bat mitzvahs when they were my age. When my mother was my age, she lived in a place where religion was not permitted, and therefore her family practiced Judaism in secret, and girls didn't get bar mitzvahed. My father grew up on Long Island, where he was able to go to Hebrew school at Temple Beth Shalom, and that's where he also got bar mitzvahed. And in this next part of my speech, I was asked what I value most about being Jewish. A very important Jewish value to me is being kind and generous. I think that this is really important because being kind and generous will help you and others, like I said before, choose life. I could also connect this to people in my family. For example, my sister always helps me when I need something in school, and my parents are kind and generous because they give me so much that they don't need to give me, and they always help me when I need it. And I think that my mom, dad, and my sister are extremely generous and kind people, and that is because of the role that Judaism plays in their lives. And now, before I end this speech, there are a few people that I'd like to thank. First, thank you to Rabbis Meir and Tara, who have helped me tremendously during my time as a student at TBE and even just making the speech. And I Really enjoyed my time spent with Rabbi Meir, and I greatly appreciate Rabbi Meir's patience in answering all of my questions. And thank you to Cantor Adam Davis, who helped me learn my Torah portion in fun and engaging ways. And his sense of humor always added a special touch to our time spent together. And next, I'd like to thank all my cousins, aunts, and uncles, and grandparents, especially Grandma Naomi, who has taught me about Judaism from a young age, and has always supported me in all of my endeavors. I'd also like to thank my late grandmother Zoya, who sparked my passion for cooking and baking and so many other things. And I'd also like to thank all of my friends. Without your support, I would not be here today. And lastly, I'd like to thank my family, Mom, Dad, Dana. Without all your love and support, I would not have come this far in my life. And as I said before, you taught me the most basic and important Jewish values of kindness and generosity. Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova, and thank you.
Simen tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, simen tov, yehelano, 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 oh lechol Yisrael, yehelano, yehelano, oh lechol Yisrael, yehelano, yehelano, oh lechol Yisrael, yehelano, yehelano, oh lechol Yisrael.
We turn to page 256 and we return the Torah to the Ark, inviting the family to come on over and open the doors. 256.
כי לקח טוב נתתי לכם תורתי, אל תעזובו אצבעים היא במחזיקים בה ותומכיה מאושר
Now Shevet, you may be seated.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
It was only 3 years ago when we stood here in the smaller chapel as our daughter Dana got bat mitzvahed, and today we're blessed to stand here again to welcome our son David to the adulthood. So, since you were born 13 years ago, we witnessed the stock market crash, worldwide pandemic, wars, natural disasters, wrecking and taking lives of the innocent. We're lucky to stand here today in good health with our friends and our family to celebrate this happy milestone in your life. I don't know if you know, but we named you David after your grandfather David, who bravely fought in World War II, gave to the poor and protected the weak. We hope to raise you with many of the qualities and values he passed on to our entire family. And I already see those in you. You've become a peer leader in your school. You use your cooking and baking talent to support charitable causes. You've inspired and entertained families who were in isolation in the past 2 years. And you've nurtured and kept our big family closely connected over Zoom. Well, while we're proud parents, there are many other people who have shaped who you are. Your Jewish education has been enriched by the intellectual conversations and stories you heard from Grandma Naomi. Your love for cooking and theater and nature, creativity has been instilled by you by Grandma Zoe, who I know is proudly celebrating with us in spirit. We're grateful to all your uncles and aunts and cousins for supporting you and being your biggest fans on social media and in person. We can't wait to see you back in all county performances, recitals, shows, and many more events. Well, no one's journey is complete without good friends. Your friends bring the best in you, whether it's playing baseball, singing, sailing, fishing, coin shopping, debating, including civilizations in Minecraft building, work, or school projects. You always have each other's back, so thank you. Finally, today would not be possible without our beloved Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Tara, and of course, Cantor Adam Davis, who did an incredible job in helping you prepare for this important milestone. Thank you. David, we're very happy to see you here today become a bar mitzvah, read from the Torah, and become a young man we're proud to call our son. You're responsible, respectful, reasonable, and according to Dana, still cute. As parents, we aren't perfect and we don't expect perfection from you. However, we wish you to continue to have all the amazing quality you already have shown us, including an independent mind, courage, curiosity, kindness, and sincerity. May you grow healthy, live in peace and prosperity, and we love you.
Please join with me on page 341. These words of the journey that you are taking into your adulthood life, David.
Lechi lach, to a land that I will show you. Lech lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechi lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi lach. Lechi lach. And I shall make your name great. Lech lecha. And all shall praise your name. Lechi lach, to the place that I will show you. Lesimchat chayim, lesimchat chayim, lesimchat chayim, lechi lach. And you shall be a blessing. Lechi lach.
Okay, David, one more blessing after your mom, which your mom shared with you beautifully, which I know is from both your parents. Actually, maybe Dana and Andy, if you go stand behind David, that'd be helpful. Come look at me, just because stay where you are. Pre-COVID, it wasn't like this, but we're constantly trying to figure out how to communicate with each other without spitting on each other, right? And I want to share a blessing with you, and the blessing I'm going to give you is in a letter that I've written as well. I'm going to put it in this bag that you'll get in a few minutes. There it is. So, David, it's been really meaningful for me, extremely meaningful, and just a joy for me to be here with you and your parents and family now, And the time we've spent together, I've loved this time for the last bunch of months. You, as everyone knows, you're smart and thoughtful. You have a self-confidence and an independence about you. And maybe more than anything, you love to be with family. Your mom and dad told me this, and I've always felt this about you, had this sense. In my time with you, I feel, David, a very special light, a spark of sorts that I know I'm certain is going to travel with you wherever you go in life. And at this moment, maybe you know this, maybe you don't, even though you've witnessed this moment with peers before. Tara and I give every student a special gift, a gift that travels lightly, and it's a verse from your Torah portion. And I want to teach you an insight that's connected to this verse. It's an insight that I learned from Rabbi David Aaron, who was a rabbi in the old city of Jerusalem. And here's the verse. It's in our parsha. Ha'edoti b'chem hayom et hashamayim ve'et ha'aretz. I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day. Ha'chayim va'amavet, that I've set before you life and death. Natati lefanecha habracha va'klala, blessing and curse. And you spoke directly to this. Uvacharta b'chayim, choose life. So, in your Dvar Torah, you taught us a very meaningful, a deep lesson about choosing life, and I want to add to the idea or ideas that you shared. We want to bring out an idea that can help you, and I think maybe all of us, to be more open and intentional in the way we respond to the challenges of our lives. And there are so many challenges. You can't wake up in the morning without feeling or being remotely aware how difficult life in the world is. So, a little Torah context. It's clear from the Torah, from our very beginnings, that the world is filled with bad stuff, with evil. God's very aware, it seems, that He has allowed evil to exist in the world. It seems that God decided that we humans will be bringers of evil into the world, but also that we humans need to be the ones who remove evil from the world. It's our job to respond, to repair the evil, the darkness that's all around us. But there is this big question, why? You asked these 5 questions. I love that. And we're going to ask for a moment, think about for a moment the question, why? Why not make a world, God, that lacks evil, that's without evil? Why go to the trouble of creating it all if you're going to allow evil to exist? I mean, is there anyone here who's ever, who's never had that kind of a thought? Probably not. So I want to teach you, as I said, share with you a great idea I recently learned from Rabbi David Aaron in Jerusalem. Listen to Rabbi Aaron's words. Maybe that was Rabbi Aaron coming to us directly. I don't know. Anyway, Shabbat, I think that's not quite out in Jerusalem. He says this. Imagine, David, I added to David, imagine you walk into a factory and see them trucking in tons and tons of garbage into the factory. And you then find out that they actually buy this garbage, and that garbage is their most valued raw material. I don't know if you all can see, but David's like squinting his eyes appropriately. Like, I think if I'm recognizing your facial expression even behind your mask, like we should all be like, no, what? Why in the world would they be doing that? It sounds crazy that garbage is the most valued raw material of the business. So it's so obvious that it makes no sense. That is, until you learn that this factory is actually is anyone listening? This factory is no one's got the answer? A recycling plant. Who said that, Nicole? I can't tell. Good for you. You win the prize. This factory is actually a recycling plant. They take garbage and turn it into usable products. As Rabbi Aaron says, welcome to World Inc. That's the way he calls it, World Inc. So yes, says Rabbi Aaron, this world is supposed to be a recycling plant. This is why it's filled with so much garbage. All the trash around us, and he adds, within us, is here for us to recycle into precious, reusable objects and values and qualities into lessons and realizations, growths and accomplishments. He says, before I learned this from the Kabbalah, I always wondered why there was so much evil in the world. However, after this secret was revealed to me, I asked, wow, why isn't there more evil in the world? I think he says that sort of tongue-in-cheek, I don't think he really wants more evil in the world. Anyway, in your Devar Torah, David, you taught us all about choosing life. It's not an obvious insight. Many, many of us don't do a great job of what you're teaching. And I hope you see the connection between quote-unquote choosing life, and Rabbi Aaron's idea that life and the world is a big recycling plant. It's all an opportunity for us to choose life. And so, David, I come to my blessing for you, and maybe what I'll do is ask you, the four of you, to go to the ark and open the ark, and I want you to stand in front of the ark. I'll offer this blessing, and then we'll sing together. The cantor will lead us in the Birkat Kohanim. Maybe we could all rise. Stand if you would. Yeah. Dana, you're great. Okay. So stand facing me, if you would, facing your family out there. Be close to each other, really close. Okay? Excellent. Dana, put your arm around your brother. If you don't, yes. Oh, I love that. So, I just said, David, I come to my blessing for you. Actually, one last thing. Olga, would you maybe bring David's talit over his head? Dana, you can help. Usually, pre-COVID, I do this. Or you can all get under it. Okay. Oh, I like that. I love that. Tara will help. Mom and dad at different ends. This is the beauty of COVID, where spontaneity matters, makes a difference. Okay. May this moment, David and all of you, be a lifelong memory filled with joy and purpose. May this moment, this joyful moment, inspire you, cause you to see the messes in our world through a different lens. May you confront life's challenges, even the evil, with a clear insight that we are all part of that world recycling mission. I call heaven and earth to be your witnesses. Those were Moses' words. You are someone who witnesses both the blessings and the curses of our world, David. You have such a great instinct and insight into increasing the kindness and care in the world through the choices you make. May you think of this bar mitzvah experience every time the Sefer Torah comes out of the ark. May you and I and Rabbi Tara and Cantor Adam have opportunities, many of them in the coming years, to learn and grow and have fun together. May you feel tremendously proud to be a Jew. And may you know that there are very few paths in life, if any, that will feed your soul as much as your Jewish path. Cantor Adam.
יברכך אדוני וישמרך.
כן יהי רצון.
יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונקה.
כן יהי רצון.
יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום.
You can remove the talit. We'll offer the Aleinu on page 282.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת קדושה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו בהם, וגאלנו כחרבונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים מודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש
all of you. So at these moments, they always remind us that we're standing on very, very broad shoulders, all those who have come before. So we are thinking this week in our broader community, the loss of Rabbi Carrie Baker, and in the past 30 days, Beverly Kaplan, Nancy Lynn, Alvin Rudolpher, Edward Sufer, and Rita Schipper. And the Kagan family is recalling on this beautiful morning these beloved names. Grandparents, Zahava, Leveeva, and Shlomo Kagan, and great-grandparents, Hananel and Margalit, Perachia, and Malka and Shmuel Kagan, and David and Esther Leveev. And are there any other names? Is anyone in a period of mourning a name they'd like to say aloud? If there is, please rise and say the name. Since there are so many that have no one to say Kaddish for them, let's rise as a community as we turn to 294 for Kaddish Yatom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Bialma Dibra, Pirutei v'yamlich Malchutei, B'chaye Chon, V'yomei Chon, V'chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala B'zman Kariv Yimru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Lamei Almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemet kudsha b'richu, La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran bi'alma v'yimru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, Amen. May the source of peace and healing send that healing to all who mourn, to all Israel, v'al kol yoshvei Tevel, to all humanity. You may be seated. So be sure before you leave, David, to take this bag with you. It's got the letter that expresses the words that Rabbi Meir spoke to you. It has a letter that you wrote to yourself with some thoughts about this day quite a while ago. It might have been the 6th grade retreat, might have been another learning session, but so you've changed probably a lot. It's a time of tremendous change in the life of a young man. And gifts from our congregation. This is a moment not only for your beautiful family, but for our whole community. So there is a Tanakh that you can, it's a travel chumash actually. You can take it with you wherever you go and continue learning. There's the Jewish Book of Why. There's a Kiddush cup for more joyous events. So, and the certificate that your grandma still will sign and that will remind us of this day always. Okay. So we are going to close it out with Kiddush and Motzi. So calling up Great Uncle Boris. If you can come on over here, join Rabbi Meir over there. We're on page 300, inviting you to rise again as we offer Kiddush. Oh, sorry, I lied. You're going to come over to this table so you can be on screen. Thank you so much to Stu and to Jason for keeping the tech going and for Shai, our wonderful accompanist. 300.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל עוד כי לעולם, עוד כי לעולם, עוד כי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות בששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן.
Amen.
Symbolic.
It's okay. Okay, whatever you want. Okay. Symbolic. Okay.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המוציא לחם מן הארץ.
Amen.
Amen. Okay, before we close, I just want to speak directly to the bar mitzvah. David, you've crossed home plate. You slid in and you were safe.
A home run.
You were safe at home. But this is not the end. You said so wisely, you taught us all, choose life. The beautiful words. I want to add to what the rabbi said, choose Jewish life. You've gained so much and learned so much about what you can gain from our tradition. Keep returning to it, because this is a well that keeps on giving. You're only at the top of the second, my friend. There are many more innings, and there are many more lessons that you can learn from the Torah and from our tradition that you can bring to your own life and the life of those around you. Mazel tov to you and your family. Let's close with Adon Olam on page 321.
And please bring your Siddur out with you. Bring it back, replace it where you got it so we can be ready for the Machzor, for the high holidays.
Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yatzir bivah yet nasa b'chefzo kol azay melech shemot mikra v'yacharei kibot hakol levado yimloch nora v'hu hayam v'hu oved v'hu yeh v'tivara v'hu efad v'yen sheni v'hashilo le'apira v'li reshit v'li tachlit v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra v'hu eli v'chai go'ali v'tzorchem li v'yetzara v'hu nisi u'manos li v'nat chosi v'yam emra b'yakov akid ruchi v'yet ishan v'ya'ira v'yim ruchi v'yati Adonai